Hello everybody. Now we have already gone through so many sessions. You would have done practice in the field as well, and the previous session was I'm sure very interesting about the composition. Fortunately or unfortunately, we have reached the end of this entire module. Now what do we do now? You have understood about the technical aspects of photography. You have learned about camera, lens, accessories, composition, light, exposure, everything. Now is time to understand what should be your workflow, because but before we even move ahead on that line, let us understand what all we have gone through. Okay, so we have gone through photo basics, we have gone through understanding camera, we have gone through understanding lens, light and exposure, accessories and composition. Today we are going to talk about the workflow, management and work habits. What are these basically? These are few things which will help you take your photography ahead. And understand, photography does not end when you pick up the camera. Photography starts when you pick up the camera or you click your first image. Photography typically, that process ends after you have actually gotten the image printed. What do you do in between this entire set of processes is called workflow. Now, in terms of workflow, I would like to share here is that there is nothing called right or wrong workflow. All workflows are right, all workflow can be wrong. They are all individualized workflows. You will have your own workflow after certain period of time. When you start progressing in the field of photography, you start improving your skills and you start getting your assignments, and or even as a hobby, you start getting more passionate about creating more images. While you travel, your number of images are getting increased. That is when you will understand the importance of workflow. But how about understanding it at this stage, so that you create a particular workflow for your own self, which will help you create images seamlessly. So the key here is keep it simple, keep it as per your convenience, and it should be a seamless process where where the workflow itself does not become a hurdle in between. All right, so let me show you what my workflow is. So my workflow starts with setting up the camera and capturing images. What do you mean by setting up the camera? Obviously, if I am going to shoot portraits or human faces, then my camera settings will be hovering around aperture. So, or if I am going to shoot something like sports or some fast action shots, then my camera setting will be hovering around shutter speed. So we have already discussed that. So we do set up the camera before going on the shoot. Go on the shoot, capture the images. What do you do after you have captured the images? Then the next step is transferring those images. If you remember, when we were discussing about accessories, I had spoken about how do you transfer your images. One way is obviously you attach your camera to your laptop or computer and you directly start transferring your images to the hard drive. I had shared and I repeat it now that that is not the right process. Second is you take the card, CF or SD card, and put it directly inserted into the slot, if there is a slot in your laptop. That's also, in my opinion, not the right approach. Then what is the right approach? Right approach is using a card reader. Card reader which is a little of good quality card reader. It has multiple card slots. And I always use this, and I suggest and recommend that you use card readers. look at any brand which is giving a good quality card reader. Lexer is good, Kingston is good. I don't want to go into brands right now, but yes, you can find good card reader. Don't opt for cheap card readers, because then you run a chance of ruining your images and the card itself might get corrupted. So but even with card reader, what is the process that I follow? One is that you directly insert, you put the card here, then you directly attach the cable onto your computer. That's one workflow, but I usually do not do that, because then in that situation there's a possibility of surge, electrical surge coming and ruining my card and damaging my card itself. So what do I do? First, I just take the card reader, I attach it to my computer using the USB cable, and then after my computer or laptop has identified this unit as a hardware which is attached to it, that is when I take the card and insert. That is then it will read, card reader will read the card, and I can select the images and transfer them into my hard drive or whatever. So that is the right process that one should follow. This is what I always do. Third part is organizing and selecting best images for processing. Now you would have clicked 100 images, 200 images, 300 images. There are people, and especially when you begin photography, you do not have control over how much images to click. So you end up clicking too many images. So now out of those 100 images, all 100 images are not going to be good. Some will be outrightly bad because of the loss of focus or lack of a proper exposure, and you would want to delete them. Out of the images which are good also, you would want to rate them, because you don't want to just browse through those 70, 80 images or 100 images and then keep randomly picking up one image and start taking to next process. So this process is called editing, because now you're going through all the images that you have clicked, you are rating them, you are shortlisting them, and you are rejecting them. All right. So this process is the third process that is in my workflow. After that, once I've shortlisted all those images, I will pick up my best of the images that I've shortlisted and take them through the process called post-processing. Now understand, post-processing is an integral part of photography workflow. I am already showing it, and I always keep on repeating this. This is not separate, this is not optional, this is not either or. You have to do it, because this is an integral part of photography workflow. If you do not learn this, you do not do this, your workflow will always remain incomplete, and your images will never reach a level which you want them to reach. Your photography will always become stagnated, it will never grow, it will never improve. So this is one integral part that you must take care of. Then after having post-processed the images, I either save those images or export them depending upon the software that you're using. So for example, if I'm using Lightroom, then it allows me to export the images. If I'm using Photoshop, then it allows me to save the images as well. While saving also, there's a workflow that I follow. First is, so let's say if I'm already clicked raw images in my camera, so I am converting those raw images into JPEG. High resolution JPEGs have to be saved inside the hard drive, because I don't want to get into a situation that tomorrow somebody wants me to give wants a high resolution or a particular JPEG in a particular size of a particular image, and they want to purchase it or for whatever reason, and I end up going into the raw image again and reprocessing it all over again. So to avoid that hassle, I would always want to save the processed image, final processed image, as high resolution JPEG, because I can always pick it up and resize it to the required size and send it to the person who's wanting it. Second, resizing happens because of sharing it on my website, and third happens to share it on the social media platforms like Facebook or Instagram. So all three have different kinds of size, image sizes that are required for different kinds of purposes. So that is when different saving workflow is also required here. Then is you have saved, you have processed, you have saved. Now what you have with you, you have the entire raw data which you have already clicked. Then you have already shortlisted images which are again probably raw. Then third is you have high resolution processed JPEG images, and fourth probably low resolution JPEG images for your social media platforms where you want to upload and share. All these set of images need to be backed up, because if all these images remain in one hard drive and this hard drive crashes, I am going to lose my precious data all at one go. One mistake and everything goes off. So always better that you decide to take a backup of all these images. How many backup? It all depends upon how important the images are to you. It could be one backup is minimum. So one additional backup is, this is one set of images. Second, in different hard drive will make it a second backup. And I would recommend that if the images are really precious, maybe because you are already into now commercial shooting and all, and or for whatever, let's say you've gone to one place which is where the travel was very, very expensive, and you come back after having clicked wonderful images, and it is highly unlikely that you will ever be able to go to that place in future. That is when those images become very, very precious to you, and you take, I suggest and I recommend that you take at least 2 backups of that. But then when you take 2 backups, you always keep them at a different place. Different place does not mean that I am sitting on this table, so one hard disk is on this table, the second hard disk is on some other table. That is not the different place. It's a different address altogether, because something goes wrong here in this building where I am sitting in my home or wherever in my office, things go wrong, my entire backup, original, everything gets destroyed at one go. So don't make that mistake. Backup should be true, real backup. Then it is sharing your images. Do not share. My suggestion is, yes, you can share. Sharing does not require backup, but it's a workflow, because before I start sharing my images, I would want to have secured my images. That is why backup comes before sharing the images. So sharing to social media is the one particular workflow. So social media is Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or whatever websites or social media platforms where you want to share. Some people say that this is where the workflow should end. If it is so, it's okay. My understanding about photography is, over a period of time, that printing should be the ultimate step, because that is where you get to see how your images look and feel on a piece of paper. Unfortunately, these screens do not really give you the real idea, exact idea how the images would look on a print. Print is a totally different ball game, and you're talking about color accuracy and sharpness in every. It starts all those small errors in that happen during the shoot. They start glaringly showing up in the print. So print is a different ball game, and I think it should be the last step in your photography workflow for a particular project. All right, now I suggest that you understand this, you follow this, and you create your own workflow, whatever is suitable to you. But you must have a workflow, because without a workflow, you will be working randomly, and you will always be taking more time to do a similar thing than you would do. The time taken to do the same thing when you're organized with your proper workflow. Now, before we move ahead with the work habits, I will be talking to you about starting from the point 2 of transferring your images onto the computer, and this third part, organizing and selecting your best images for processing. I'm not going into processing in detail right now. That will be probably in different module altogether, but right now we are talking about point 2 and point 3. So I will be taking up Lightroom right now. What are the 2 main softwares available for transferring, for organizing and selecting and post-processing as well? You might have a software supplied by the camera manufacturer itself. So if you don't want to spend money to begin with, that you can always pick it up. Mostly they are free of cost, and they are very powerful. You can always pick them up and understand those softwares and start using them. I'm not getting into that right now because they are all very specific brand oriented softwares. Other than that, the two most powerful softwares are Adobe Lightroom and Adobe Photoshop. Now Photoshop is much more advanced than Lightroom, but Photoshop also is it requires better understanding about how the software would work and what steps that you would be taking to process your images. It is not like Lightroom, which is very easy. It is not intuitive. Lightroom is very intuitive. It's self-explanatory. When we open Lightroom, so you can see every command right there in front of you. That is not so in Photoshop. So right now we are not discussing about Photoshop. Probably in some module which we will release at a later stage, you can understand Photoshop as well. So right now I'll be talking about using Lightroom to do these two steps here. One more thing here I want to add is that as a photographer, we have some responsibility. Now, I did not buy, and you did not, you bought, I also purchased my camera with my hard-earned money. I'm sure all of you have done that. None of us have resorted to stealing the camera from somebody. Am I making sense? I did not steal the camera, you did not steal the camera. Same thing, you did not steal the lens as well. You purchased the lens. I also purchased the lens. Now you create an image. You post it on social media. It's a beautiful image. And I, sitting somewhere, get that feel that it's so easy to download it, put my watermark on, and post it in my name. How will somebody else sitting in some other corner of the world will ever get to know about it? What have I done? I have stolen somebody's image, probably your image. Will you like it? The answer, I'm sure, is no. Then let us become more responsible. Let us not even steal somebody's software, because some companies have created the software for the legal use. Let us, if we have invested in the camera, purchasing the camera and lens, let us also make a small investment of 500 to 700 rupees per month and purchase the legal versions of Photoshop and Lightroom, because we don't want our images to be stolen, because we don't like it. It is the wrong thing to do. So that should even get translated into using our softwares as well. Having said that, let us move ahead with transferring the images and all. So I have already transferred the images onto my hard disk. I will show you how do we import it to Lightroom and what do we do around that. So I'm just going to minimize my presentation right now, and we'll come to this presentation later on. I will open the Lightroom. So what I'm doing is I'm opening Adobe Lightroom Classic CC. It's here already installed. I can show you. So just be okay. So okay, this is what I'm going to open now. So I'll simply just click it, and it will open the Lightroom Classic CC for me. Once it gets opened, if you see, there is some interface here. Right now the entire interface is customized interface which I have done for my use. If you can see here, library, develop and slideshow, all these are as per my requirement. My name is also showing here. You will, by default, you will not get these settings. So let me just first reset it to the way it came from company. So when I click here, it gives me a different option of identity. So Adobe ID, Lightroom Classic CC, personalized. Right now it is clicked at personalized. So I am moving it away to the standard which you will receive while you open or purchase this Lightroom software package. So I will click on Adobe Classic CC. So this is what happens. So this is how it looks when you open it first time. Here right now there are only 4 modules which are showing, because I have customized that. Let me show you how do I bring full modules. So if you see here, there is option here: library, develop, map, book, slideshow, print, web, or show all. So I'll click on show all, because by default that is what is going to come. So these are the modules. So library, develop, map, book, slideshow, and print. What are these modules? These are the modules which will help us do different things on our images, to our images. So as I just told you just a while ago, that Lightroom is very intuitive. It is self-explanatory what you need to do. If you understand what is the meaning of all these modules, library or develop or map, you can understand that what you can do with these kinds of modules. And if you have to apply a certain action on your image, where do you want to go in these modules? Then you also see central portion where the images are stored. Then you see another part which is on the right, where you can where you can see the histogram and all. And on the left there is another panel where you can see a thumbnail of the selected image in this set of images. Right now this is selected. So this thumbnail of this is showing, and some other aspects of storing the images here or importing the images here. Now before I move ahead, let me tell you that when we import the images into Lightroom, you must understand one aspect of it, that hard images do not get imported. Try and understand, you have shot 100 raw images using your camera. Now those raw images are very heavy. When you bring them here, all the images physically which are residing in this right now, if they come into the software capability is going to be in stress. And it is not only these 18-20 images we are talking about. Ultimately, over a period of time, you would have thousands and tens of thousands of images which you will be importing into Lightroom. Do you think that this kind of Lightroom and this kind of system that you have, whatever, no matter how high end it is, it will be able to support the load of so many images? The answer is no. Then how do we do that? Lightroom helps us in that. So when we import the images, which I'll show you right now, Lightroom just creates a thumbnail preview of those images in a certain resolution and brings it into Lightroom, which resemble almost like an image. And when we start doing the changes and we post-process the images at the back end, all those changes are getting implemented on the main image, which is still there in the hard disk only. So this concept you have to be very clear. Whereas when we use Photoshop, when I'll come to Photoshop and explain, it is happening totally different, because when I open a single image in Photoshop, that particular image gets opened, not its thumbnail or something like that. So that is the basic difference. Okay, now the next step is, images are here in the hard drive. I will have to import those images into the Lightroom. Let me before that, let me give you some idea about details about the modules, because that is important. What is library does? What does this module library do? Library is like, what is library? Okay, forget Lightroom for the moment. What is library as per your understanding? It's a place where you keep books stacked together in proper manner, numbering them by alphabets or whatever, so that you don't find it difficult to locate when you want to pick up one particular book or magazine or whatever. Same thing happens with images. Now, if there is no library, what will happen? You have, over a period of time, maybe 10 or 12 books lying at your home, and one is lying in bedroom under my pillow, one is under the under the table, one is on the roof, one is in bathroom, another is in the garden, another is in my kid's bag. And if I have to locate for one particular book, what will happen? It's a huge challenge, and it's a fight that's going to happen in house. We are not going to find the book. it is advisable, and same thing will happen with your images also. If they are scattered all over, after some time when you want to look for one particular image, you will not find, because you would not have known, because you don't know where they are kept. So that is what library does here. Library helps you arrange those images systematically. Okay, so when we import all these images, they will come into library, and here we will reorganize and rearrange them in a particular manner, doing rating and numbering or whatever, and so that our life as a photographer becomes easy. Tomorrow, whenever we want to search an image, we can come here and we can browse through the images in library module. All right, the next is develop module. What is develop? As the name suggests, we develop the images here. That means we post-process the images in develop mode. And I'll show you how do we bring images to develop mode. It's very, very easy. The next step is, map. Map is used to geotag your images. Let us say I've shot one particular image in Ladakh, and I come to map and I really put in map where is the location of the click of this particular image. I don't use it in Lightroom because I always geotag in using my camera, so I really don't require this facility in Lightroom, but it's there, so you can, if you want, you can use it. Then is the book. So if you want to design a coffee table book from your images, you can do that using Lightroom. Yes, Lightroom is multi-purpose end-to-end solution for a photographer. And then I don't also use it because if I have to get the book printed, then I can activate this. So right now I try and keep it deactivated, which I'll show you also how do I do that. Then is the slideshow. If I want to create a slideshow of some of my images to present it to somebody else and showcase it to somebody else, then I can do that using this particular module in Lightroom, using the settings, different settings. We are not going to talk about this in today's session. Then is print. So we can even directly send the image for printing from Lightroom. Last is web. Web is obviously Facebook and Instagram. So we can directly send the images or upload the images to Facebook using Lightroom. I don't even use this because I believe in first saving those images in a particular format, maybe for Facebook itself, somewhere in hard drive, and then later on, I'll tell you when we talk about post-processing in detail in a different module altogether, then I will talk about it. Why do I do that? Basically, it's all about giving some time after doing the post-processing so that you take the right decision. If the right decision is not taken, you might upload an image which is either undercooked or overcooked. All right, I'll explain this in some other module in detail. How do I, let's say now I don't use map, I don't use book, I don't use print, or I don't use web, or maybe I use sometimes web, or but if I want to customize this menu on top, module menu on top, what I can do is I can just double click and I can check off, I can tick off anything which I do not want to show here. So what I'll do is I'll let's say map I don't want. So when I uncheck map, the map disappears from the top menu. I uncheck book, it disappears from the top menu. And let's say I also uncheck print, it also disappears from the top menu. So this is how I can customize the way my menu looks. I can also come here the way I've done, which you can do. I can use my personalized ID and then it looks very, very different. How do you do that? And much more about Lightroom, we already have a module which is a session which we have already uploaded, which you can access about Lightroom in English, and you can find out in detail, in-depth understanding about how do we achieve, how do we personalize this, and a lot of other aspects of Lightroom which probably will not be covered in this session. So that session is already there, uploaded. You can access that, and that's there in English as well. So before now we are, I think we have I made you understand how it looks and how do we customize it. Now we will start importing our images into Lightroom. So To import images, I've already opened the Lightroom. So what I need to do is, if you check here, I'll show it to you. If you check here, on your left hand side panel at the bottom of it, you will find one tab which says import. So I'll click on that, and the moment I click on that, it gives me an option. It asks me for the source. So it is asking me to select a source, that means from where I want to copy those images. And on top of that also, if I come here, it is giving me an option, asking me an option, copy as DNG or copy, move and add. That means copy as DNG is actually the raw format of Adobe. So we are not right now bothered about that. Rest of the three options are copy. Copy means it will copy the images from here and will create the thumbnail previews and bring it to Lightroom. When I say move, it will move the images from one place to another, and when I say add, it will add to some other place. So I am looking at copy option right now. So once I look at copy, right now this hard disk is lossy. So if I see, it is giving me an option of lossy hard drive as a source. So whatever you attach, it will start showing you. I can even attach my card directly on the card reader. That will also be read by Lightroom, so as an option of the source. So you need not really bother. You need not actually go to the create a workflow of first transferring your images from card to hard drive to Lightroom. However, I do that for a different reason altogether, because Lightroom is not necessarily my first level of post processing. Sometimes I choose Lightroom, sometimes I choose Photoshop, depending upon the kind of images that I want to process. So since my Lightroom is not my default choice, so I do not want to start transferring images directly to Lightroom to begin with. So my first step in workflow is always transfer my images from the card to my hard drive, and whatever images I feel that I need to transfer to Lightroom for processing, those are the images I choose using this import button here, which I have just shown you. So what I'll do is I'll just click on this Lassie, and it opens up all the images that are there in this hard drive. So let me just choose Iceland 2018. If this is what I choose, then you will see one thing, but you will notice one thing, that all the images in this hard drive are auto selected. That means by default there are some 752 photos. It is giving me an option to import all images. Now right now I do not want to do that because it will take too much of time. Also there could be a situation where you do not want to import all images, so you just need to click on this all photos here. Once I click unclick this, uncheck this, all the images will get deselected, and then I can pick up any image that I want to. I can put the selection mark on them and decide to import only those images. Now what happens when you import the image? We can direct Lightroom to do certain action, perform certain actions on the images that we are trying to import. We can add some metadata, we can add some keywords, we can change the name. Why it is required right now? Though we can always come back even if we don't do anything here. If you check here, this is called file handling. This is again on the right hand side panel. So there are multiple options which I'll take you through in a while, but we can decide to ignore this part also. But what will happen is our workflow will increase in that scenario. Then we will have to come back at a later stage and do all these selections after some time. So why to really create an unnecessary second step? So I would like to implement some changes or direct Lightroom to implement certain changes on the images while the images are getting imported. Okay, now if I want to see what all there as the option in file handling, the first option it shows is build previews. Now what is preview? As I just shared a while ago, when we say import the images into Lightroom, physical images do not get imported. So Lightroom creates a thumbnail, preview thumbnail of all the images in a particular resolution, and then it imports. So they are all rendered previews. They are not final images. They are not real images. And all the real images remain in your hard drive. So when I am trying to import, it is asking me what is the kind of resolution that you want to import in. One is minimal. So minimal will be very small thumbnail. It will also be low resolution thumbnail. Usually I do not prefer this, not usually, I have never used it actually, to be very honest, because it does not allow me the liberty of doing multiple levels of post-processing on any image. However, if you are at a beginner stage and you do not know even how to really post-process images, and you just want to fiddle around with what happens with different sliders, then this can be an option. Having said that, let me tell you, it is very much possible that any given point of time after the import, you can decide to change this option on the imported images itself. And if you want to go into detail, find out in detail how do we do all these processes, there is a module which is already available as a possible option that you can opt for and choose and watch that. It is in detail about Lightroom and how do we manage images and all the entire workflow that gets created using Lightroom. So you can always opt for that. Having said that, let me come here. Second is embedded and sidecar, which is basically when you see raw will always come with some embedded data, and there's a sidecar which is a temporary file which is attached to it. So if I want to attach a temporary file along with it, I can do that. It is not required because as such all the raw files or all the images are on my main hard drive, and which already has a sidecar, so there is absolutely no point doing this. Third is standard, which is right now the checked option. So checked option right now is standard. Standard is the standard format. What you see right now on the screen is the standard thumbnail, and I think it is very versatile to really give you the option of doing lot of multiple levels of post processing on any single image. And last one is 1:1. 1:1 is very high resolution thumbnail preview which gets created, and this is very heavy. It puts burden on stress on the machine also. It puts stress on even the Lightroom itself. So why do we require this kind of thumbnail to be created by Lightroom? In situations where I really want to do very minute, detailed level of post processing. Let us say I am doing a post processing of skin retouching using Lightroom on a face of a model that I have just shot. Now that requires a lot of zooming into the face, into the skin, trying to find details and do that processing there. For such kind of post-processing requirements, I might require 1:1 kind of thumbnail. But as I said, you need not bother about this stage right now. So you just put it as standard and import, and whenever you have a specific requirement, you can always go and do the changes. How do we do that? Go and watch the other module which is specially on Lightroom, which is already available in English. Then coming out of this, if I go under it, it talks about build smart previews. It is unchecked right now. What are smart previews basically? Smart preview is one wonderful option that Lightroom gives us. Right now if you see the Lightroom, the images is attached to the hard drive where the images are residing, main images. Previews are rendered previews are on Lightroom, but the main images are residing in hard drive. So that means I need hard drive to be connected to the laptop when I want to process those images. Now let us say I'm traveling and I do not want to carry my hard drive because of security reasons. I do not want my hard drive to get damaged in whatever possible unfortunate incidents that might happen in my travel. So and I also want to devote my time, spend my time there in doing some post processing which of the images which might be in my hard drive. So what I do in that case is I click on this option of build smart previews, and these will allow me to do post processing on the images without the hard drive being attached. So all the 100% post processing will happen when I come back and attach my hard drive. All those changes which I made in post processing on all the images, they will be applied back on the images. All right. So this is one great feature. I have not checked it because I do not want to create smart previews of all the images, because again these are heavy previews. They require a lot of RAM, memory and space also, and it puts unnecessary stress on the computer. I can always selectively choose this option before traveling and make the images as a smart preview only when I'm traveling. So that option is there. Then next setting is don't import suspected duplicates. Name itself is very clear. My Lightroom I might have already imported similar kind of images in past, and right now I do not want accidentally to recreate multiple images, same images, multiple files of the same images. Then in that case I will click this and Lightroom will identify similar images and it will duplicate images and will not import them. Then next one is make a second copy. So let us say I am using my card to transfer my images, not the hard drive. So what it is doing is all the thumbnails are getting created in the Lightroom. I can also do that. I can create a copy of the images in my card onto my hard drive while doing the same thing. So that is when I use this, and I can designate a folder in which all these images will get copied and will create a duplicate copy of all the images. So this you can do. This is a good backup option as well. Then is add to collection. There you can create a collection of select images. Let us say I am a wedding photographer and I'm shooting a wedding, and that wedding was very high profile wedding, and I do not want to go through different catalogs and locating where those images lie which I had imported, and I want a quick access to it. So I can create, while importing those images, I can click on this option, add to collection, and give a name to that collection, which will all the images will get added to that collection, and that collection folder will appear somewhere on this side after the import. Right now it is not showing because it's asking for the source, so it will appear on this side of the panel, and I can quickly access that collection and start working on the images. So this is one good option which is available. Then next option available here is file renaming. Why do we need that? We all know that our camera assigns one particular name to every image. It is giving us an option to rename those images or files. Why so? When we want to organize the files, let us say I am doing multiple weddings over a period of time, day in and day out. In May itself, in a particular month, I am doing 10 weddings, and next month I am doing 10 weddings. So another 5-6 months I would have done 50 to 60 to 70 weddings, and all the names are confusing. Our brain is such that it can remember, okay, now this wedding I did somewhere in the month of May or April, whatever month is. Then we find it easy to locate those images accordingly. Here we can really give custom name with the name of the bride or groom in that case, or let's say I'm shooting, creating a portfolio of somebody, and I can use his or her name in the image file name itself, and the month and the year and whatever. I can do all those changes in renaming the file. Let me repeat again, all this information we have already provided in the module which is existing, and it is in English as well. So you can check and go through that. You will find all those information in detail. How do we go about doing it? Next is apply during import. You want to apply certain settings onto all the images that you are importing. Then you can do from this. Let us say I go out on a shoot or to a particular place with the clear intention and objective of creating images which will eventually be converted into black and white only. So let's say black and white project, and I come back and I want to see all the images that I clicked in black and white only. So I can use this option. Let me show you how do this option open up. So when I say develop settings, it gives me an option of none as I have by default. Then color, creative, black and white, curve, grain, sharpening. I can apply uniform sharpening to all the images. Not desirable, the feature is there. The only time when I have used this kind of feature is when I have gone on a black and white kind of a project and I do not want to see the colored version of it. I just want to see how the image will look broadly in black and white, and then I'll pick the right images and start processing them. So but there's an option that I can choose to apply certain changes on all the images that are getting imported. So if you are into that kind of a thing, life becomes very easy for you as a photographer while you are processing your images. Then you are talking about metadata. Metadata is your copyright information, the information that you tag onto your image, so that whenever anybody looks at it, the information is there. For example, if you see here, I've added my copyright and year as metadata information. You can create that and you can always add it here in all the images that you are importing. So you are by default adding all the copyright information using this feature on all your images that you have clicked. This is one. After that, there are keywords. Now keywords are the words which will help us and others search our images through those thousands and millions of images. How do we do that? These are the images from Iceland. Now I can always write a keyword by Iceland. So Iceland becomes my first keyword, which means all these images will have this keyword as Iceland, and when I want to search by keyword, I can always type Iceland and all the images where I've used this keyword as Iceland will appear on my as a selection. And I can also use, right now all the images that you see is landscape, so I can use landscape as another keyword, so on and so forth. So I can also use Jussi Oberoi. You can use your name, you can use a month, shot by Jussi Oberoi in April, whatever. Create your own keywords, and you can always keep on adding. They are always helpful in trying to find or locate your images at a later stage. Then there is destination. Destination is, let us say I do not, what I am doing is, apart from creating a copy, and this particular version, this option works only when I am trying to transfer my images from my card into Lightroom. That is what I am doing. So in that case, what I can do is, while the images are getting imported into Lightroom, I can also assign a folder, a destination into my hard drive, and all these images from my hard drive card will get copied into my hard drive into the specified folder. Why I don't do that? It's a wonderful feature actually. Why I don't do that is that, as I shared just a while ago, I don't want all my images to become a part of Lightroom, because Lightroom is by default is not my choice of the software that I use. Sometimes I use Lightroom, sometimes I don't use Lightroom. So unnecessarily I don't really want to bring all the images into Lightroom. So I prefer that first it goes from here to here, then from here I'll selectively bring them to Lightroom. So these are the options that you can apply. So whatever you choose here will finally get applied onto your images that are getting imported. So we can be selective in picking up certain images. So let us say I've already downloaded, I've transferred some images for your ease of understanding and to save time as well, but still I will probably add 1 or 2 more images just to show you how things work. So I'm just picking up one image. Let me leave this image aside. Let me pick one this image, another this image, or maybe one more image which can be, I'm just trying to pick up something at random, which can be okay, maybe some aurora. Okay, I can pick this up. I've chosen 3 different images, and now I will say import. Previously, when I saw import and when I clicked on import, it was somewhere here, somewhere on this side. The moment I do that, it opens up this window asking me to select. Now, after I selected, I have to still say import finally, and that import button is on your right hand extreme bottom left, bottom right corner. And once I say import, click on import here, it will start importing all those files into my Lightroom. Now, if I show you here, you see there is a status bar which is showing, which will show me the status of the images that are getting imported. So these are very heavy raw files, and so it will gradually start, because right now it will render all the previews and it will start showing you. So you've already seen now 3 images which I have selected have come here. Okay, so this is what I have wanted to show you. So I have shown you this, but I will take you to the previous import, because that has more options which I had created for your benefit some time back. So let me show you previous import or all synced, all photographs. Okay, so these are the photographs that are imported over a period of time. What I can do here is, next step obviously is to do the culling. Culling means I'll have to shortlist, I will find out which images are good, which images are bad, and all those, give them some ranking, some star marking, some star rating, or even reject them. One caution which I always adopt is that I really do not delete in any image in a hurry, or as a first step I do not delete any image at all, no matter how bad it looks to me, even in first instance. So right now I will spend another 15-20 minutes, half an hour going through all those huge number of images and will rate them on their merit as I see it now. And the images that I don't like at all and I decide at this point of time that I have to delete it, I will mark them as reject. I'll show you how do we do that, and later on when I revisit that set of images which have been marked as reject, then I can choose which one to really delete. Even if I have to delete all of those images, still okay, even though it is another step additional, but in this case I am trying to take precautions rather than get into a situation that by mistake I delete some images and which will not be recoverable at all. Okay, now the right way to what do we do now? We see a lot of thumbnails of images here, previews are there, and now we will have to give star ratings. If I click on any image that I want to see, let us say I click on one particular image. The moment I do that, I press on the space bar on my laptop. So what happens when I press the space bar? That selected image opens up in full screen, almost enlarged. That gives me a fair amount of idea about how the image is. Is it good? Is it bad? It is, or whatever it is. So this way I can decide. And the moment it opens up, just look at what happens. There are certain options here. These are the stars which are visible under the image. On just before that, just next to those stars, there are two flags. One flag has a cross mark onto it. When I press this flag on any image, it will mark that image as reject. That means I have rejected it right now, but will delete it. Decision about deletion I will take little later. Then we also have something called these arrow marks, which will help us rotate the image from vertical to horizontal if the case may, which I will show you on a particular image. All I have to do is, let us say whenever I look at an image and I want, my mind tells me that I have to now give the star rating as some star rating between 1 and 5. There are other options also available, but I do not really get into that. This is what I like, easy, better, and easy to understand as well. Now either I can click physically onto these number of stars to give the star rating, or the much better is whatever number that you want to give as a rating, you just press that number on your keyboard, and that number will be given as the rating to that particular image between 1 to 5. Let us say this is an image which I feel should be given a star rating of 3. I am just thinking aloud. So when I press 3 on my keyboard, it gives the star rating of 3. Now let us say by mistake I wanted to click 4, but I have clicked 3. This is possible. How to correct it? Don't worry. Whatever is the correct star rating that you want to give, I will choose that now. So once I say 4, the moment I click 4, the star rating changes from 3 to 4 to the current number that I press. If I don't want to rate this image for whatever reason, I can go and click 0. So then star rating is set to 0 as original. Okay. So let me give it a 3 rating. I am giving it a 3 rating. Let me go ahead. Maybe this is an image which I feel is not very good probably, then I will give it a 2 rating. Let us say 2 rating. This image is not really good at all. I will give it a rating 1. So I rate as 1. This image is almost, for me right now, is a reject image. I might want to delete it, but right now I am not deleting it. So what I am doing is I am trying to mark it as reject. So I will come here and I will mark this flag which is showing you the cross mark. I will press on this and it will be marked as reject. All right. Now when I move next to the next image, okay, this image has potential. You must also be able to understand the image might not look all that good if you're shooting in RAW. This is one, I can say, a feature of RAW, because none of the settings inside the camera are applied on the RAW image. RAW is as you have clicked. So but I can understand the potential in it. So for me, I think this is an image worth getting a rating of 4. So I will take it as 4 here, and maybe this is 3, this is 2, this is 1. I'm just giving randomly. This is 1, this is 3, this is 5. Okay. Now this is 5. I have given multiple ratings. I have also rejected an image. This entire set of library contains, if I escape, many more images where some ratings I have given in past as well. Now when I how can I find which are my best images that I have selected over a period of time, or right now? I need to just filter out of these 500, 300, 400, whatever the number of images that you imported and gone through. I can now pick up an image, set of images which I rated only 5 star. So what I can do is, you just come here, you look at this. Let me show you. Right now it is showing filters off. So right now there is no filter applied. So I'll click on this and let me show you what it starts showing you. So as an option, drop down option, it shows you camera info, exposure info, filters off, flagged. Flagged means the moment I click on this, it will show me all the images which I have flagged, means rejected for maybe later decision on deletion. Then I'll come to rated or unrated. When I click on rated, let us see what happens when I click on rated. When I click on rated, it also gives me an option just next to it, that what is the star rating that you want to filter, apply the filter on. Okay, so let us say I just want to see only 5-star rated images that I have selected. So what I'll do is I will click on 5 stars here. I'll click on that. So only images which I have rated as 5-star appear here. Let us say I want to see, to begin with, all the images that I have given a rating of 4 and above. So that means 4 and 5. So what I need to do is I will come here at the same place and I will select 4 stars here. So it shows me 4 or above. All right. So what I'll do is I'll click on 4. So it will show me all the images on of 4 and 5 ratings. Check here. This is 4-star, 5-star, 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 5, 5, 4, 5, 4. All right. So this gives me now, out of all those hundreds of images, I have the best shortlisted images in front of me, and I can pick up any image and take it to develop mode for post processing. I have forgotten to show you one feature, which is this. So let us say now this should be a vertical image. Right now it is showing as a horizontal mode image. So if you see this arrow mark, I will use the appropriate arrow mark and straighten this image, make it correct. So this is few very simple actions which you can use to really shortlist your images and filter them, and finding out which all images that you have selected. Let me also try and show you on this filter. I want to see which are the images that I have set as flagged. So when I click on this, it will show me an image which I have flagged, or I have rejected. Flagged or I have rejected also. Does it show? Okay, now it's flagged only. So let me try and add a couple of more images as flagged and probably show you. So I'll try and make the filter go off right now, and then let us say one particular image, this I try and flag it. Reject. Okay, flag it. Then what happens is filters, I go again and I check flagged. Now this image also comes in flagged. So whatever I flag for rejection will start showing here. All right. So this gives us complete control on how do we manage our images, and how do we put them and where, and how do we find and locate our images at a later date based on star rating, and even names that we have added in which I've shown you. Right now we have not added. So if you really want to know the entire process of how do we manage our images in depth using Lightroom and all, go and check our module on Lightroom in English, which is already there available for you. And I think the moment now what I'll try and do is I'll just show you I'll just show you how do we take these images to develop mode. So first let me click the 5-star rated images, because that is what I'll decide from to begin with, and I pick on any image. Let us say this is the image that I want to first process. I will one click to select that, and then I will either go to develop mode, press it here, or the shortcut is the D key, D on your keyboard. So I'll press D and it will take this image in develop mode. Now it has come in develop mode. Now we can start its processing. Just brief about how this develop mode looks like. So we have an image here which has already come into develop mode. When we come here, there are two different panels again as previous time also. Two panels, one on the extreme right and one on extreme left. So extreme right, on top it shows us histogram, both color histogram and highlight and shadow histogram with RGB values. Then we have different settings that we can choose. The white balance setting can be done, exposure, contrast, highlight, shadows, white, black, clarity, dehaze, vibrance, saturation, increase. A lot of options are there, which right now we are not going into detail, because this we don't want to put too much of stress on you. Very soon you will see detailed video on post processing using Lightroom and Photoshop as well, which you can decide as per your convenience. What I also want to show you is another thing which you see on your extreme left side panel. Now this is, you see the heading which is called presets. What are the presets? Presets are quick fix solutions which are provided to you so that you can apply those changes onto the image and make quick changes. Now these look very attractive. Some are supplied by Lightroom itself. Right now what you can see is come as a part of Lightroom, and some you can find online also and add them into your Lightroom. I would give you a word of caution here. As you decided not to choose the auto mode on your camera, please do not use presets randomly, because this is auto mode for the Lightroom. Understand, these presets are created on some image shot by someone in one particular condition. You don't even know whether it was created on a portrait or a landscape, whether it was created in bright sunny day or in a shadow day, and you are trying to apply on any image shot totally different conditions. Result might look good, but after some time you will start realizing that this is not the right way. So why waste time? I wasted a lot of time doing this. Okay, I spent a lot of time trying to find free kind of presets and add here, and I had hundreds of presets, and then I realized that what am I doing? I am really wasting time doing anything. But how do they work? Let me just quickly show you. Let us say I click on this black and white landscape. It makes my image black and white. It looks very good, but it might not look very good after 2 days. Our eyes get used to a particular image in after a certain time. The moment we apply the preset, it suddenly changes that look, and that always appeals. No matter how bad, it always appeals to our eyes. That is how our eyes work. So please use them very, very judiciously. Don't overdo that. Avoid as much as you can, and very soon we'll come out with a detailed module even on this. So I think I have given you a lot of information on how to import images and how to manage your images, and I've also shared with you that if you really want to know more in depth about this, the module was already there in English, which you can pick up and understand from there. Now what is left? It's our last day together. Let us discuss what you should do to take your photography at a different level. Let's move on to that. So how are you all? We have already gone through the entire session of this photography straight and simple. We have gone through Lightroom just now. We have tried and understand how the Lightroom works, how do we manage our images. Before that, we've also gone through all the different nuances of photography, technical or creative. What next? No, photography does not end here. In fact, photography starts from here. It's a beginning of photography from this stage. So what do you need to do now? See, I always say that photography and life are very similar. In life, to succeed, we have to continuously change our work habits. Only then we grow from one level to another level. And same thing in photography. After having understood the technicalities and the creative aspect of photography, there's another aspect which is most important in my opinion, is how you conduct yourself. What sort of work ethics you develop while you're walking on this path as beautiful as photography. Let us try and understand what those work habits can be. And I call them good habits because you decide whether they're good or bad or better or best, whatever they are. They are good habits and you must inculcate them. And all these I have tried to figure out from my own experience and I'm trying to share with you. They might not talk about aperture, not might. They will not talk about aperture. They will not talk about camera. They will also not talk about flashes. They will certainly not talk about Lightroom or lenses. What do they talk about? They talk about you. They talk about me. They talk about all of us who are behind the camera. Let us see them one by one. An equipment is as good as the person behind it. Just understand one important aspect, and it's a fact that no matter how expensive your camera is, it will not start walking, going to the spot just because you want to create an image, and will create an image and come and give it to you. It is a device, it is just like another instrument. How many of you own one of the best cameras that different manufacturers have created or made? Quite a lot of you. In fact, if you add thousands more or millions more of such people who own the camera that you have, do you think that all of them, including you, have become professional good photographers? Have they started or have you started already shooting award-winning images? If the answer is no, then you ask yourself why. You have purchased one of the most expensive cameras. Many thousands of people worldwide have purchased similar kind of camera. If camera was supposed to bring you results, or let's say if good camera was supposed to bring you good results, then everybody would have become photographer, right? And the answer still remains no, because no matter how good the camera is, until unless you do not know how to handle it, how to get the best out of the camera, unfortunately, camera is not going to deliver. This is one important fact. Now, here also comes another thing, that we keep investing into gadgets. And I'll talk about it in a while again. I'll take this up again. How about investing little more into your skill enhancement? Because in the end, more skilled you are to handle that camera, the better results you will extract out of the same camera. It is nothing more than an instrument. Just try and understand that. You have purchased the camera. Now understand it and master it. I don't like the word slave, but if you like it, but for your own sake, make camera your slave. I somehow don't like it. I don't like it that way, so I never use it that way. But yes, master it. Make it your friend. Make it your companion. The moment you hold the camera, the moment you start changing settings, camera starts understanding what you want. If you think that you already know, or you already mastered the camera, let me give you a very small but relevant tip. If before clicking the shutter button, you have to remove the camera from in front of your face and look into the menu system to do some setting change, you still have not mastered the camera. You are still some more steps away from mastering the camera. Under no circumstances you should take the camera off your face to change the settings. You pick up the camera, you look into the viewfinder, you make all the changes inside the camera to shoot that particular image without taking that off your face. And that is when you would have mastered it. And I have said this in previous modules as well, that until and unless you understand and master your camera, you will never be able to become creative. Because your gaps in understanding the camera or technicalities will always come in your way, will act as speed breakers in your journey towards becoming creative. This is important. Pressing the shutter is only half work done. Period. Most of us think the moment we press the shutter, the image is captured inside the camera, our work is over, now let's go to sleep. No. What do you need to do? I have already shared in this module only little while ago about Lightroom. So import the images and do all that, X, Y, Z, everything you do it. You understand what I am saying? Post processing, as I shared just a while ago, is an integral part of any good photography workflow. And let me tell you, post processing, the word might not have existed in past, but it in its own whatever form, whatever name, it always has been an integral part of photography. It has always been existing from the day one of photography got invented. The only difference is, in those days, the processing used to happen in dark rooms. Now they are digital dark rooms. Now we have become a little more shameless and started doing what people used to do in dark. We have started doing the same thing in open. You naughty boy. That's not the case. Just understand every aspect of photography and implement that. Pressing the shutter is just ensuring you have done one part. Now you need to move on to the other aspects of completing that image before it sees light of the day, before you start sharing or give it for printing. Learn to see without camera. What is this? I have said in one of the previous modules that whatever you see from your eyes, you can never capture. Yes, the moment might hold for whatever reasons. The person you have spotted might not have moved, but that is your good luck. And good photography never depends on good luck. So, do one thing, do one exercise, that go out to do photography but leave your camera at home. So now for next 1 or couple of hours, what you are doing is, you are trying to identify frames and you are trying to curse yourself for not having brought the camera. So you just do for that 1 hour or 2 hours, you are just trying to identify frames. And what are you doing? You are training your eyes. Because the moment you bring the camera on your face, your brain stops working. All you see is what you see through the viewfinder. Maybe a couple of millimeters here or there. And we do not take it off our head or face. Just take it off for a moment and you see there are a lot of other action which is happening around, which might be which might help you create a better frame. It's as simple as that. So learn to see without the camera, because this is very important. Then want to become. I want to become something, but do I have the desire to become something? Do I have the passion to become something? What kind of fire is burning inside me? Am I really passionate? Is my want really strong? Try and understand one thing. If your burning desire, if you do not have that very strong burning desire from within, you are not going to walk very, very long on this photography journey. You're going to turn back sometime and you say, it's not my kind of thing. Another thing, just meditate. Do it right now. Meditate for 2 minutes. Don't do anything. Just shut yourself off from whatever distraction that you have right now. In your home or in your office, whatever. Just close your eye. Shut out your mind to everything, every distraction. Now, you get up after 2 minutes, peaceful, go and stand in front of the mirror and ask yourself a question. Do you really want to do photography? And now, if the person in the mirror tells you, yes, then you have it in you. And if there are some question marks lurking around, go back. Let me be honest. Let me be blunt. You're not cut out for it. Do not waste your time. Focus somewhere else. Because it is not going to be easy. Because probably you thought that you like the photography as a hobby or as a passion, but maybe somebody else was the motivation. You got influenced by some other glamorous part of it, glamorous side of photography. All right? So, be passionate. It should be so strong that if you don't achieve it, you make it even stronger. It doesn't deter you. Remember, it takes time. Even a baby takes 9 months to come out. There are nothing called instant gratification. You are not cooking 2-minute noodles. You are cooking something which is going to last you forever. And how much time? I don't know. There's a story. There was a sage in a village, and he was sitting by the side of under a tree and something, and this guy walks past him and he goes to the sage and he says, hey sage, I want to go to so and so place, so and so village. How much time will it take me to reach there? And sage stays silent. He does not say anything. And he asks that question repeatedly. The sage continues to stay silent. Frustrated, this guy starts moving forward, hoping to find somebody else who could answer his question. After a couple of seconds and few minutes, or maybe a minute or so, the sage shouts behind him, hey, stop, it will take you half an hour to reach there. And this guy really is furious now. And he comes back and he starts abusing him left, right and center. Why didn't you tell me now? Earlier? He says, I didn't know how fast you are walking. Until unless I know your pace, how can I tell you how much time will it take you to reach there? So I don't know. It all depends upon you. How much distractions affect you? When you are moving from one direction to another, do you get thirsty? And are you in a position to curb your thirst for some more time? Do you get distracted by surroundings? What is your pace? You decide. That is what will take you forward. Just understand one thing, you will reach provided you stay in the course. You will reach. So you will reach at your own time. Inspire yourself constantly. See, what is this? Constantly, continuously, what is this? We always need, day in and day out, we need inspiration. Because we sometimes get stuck. We are sometimes stuck in our own box that we create. We cannot think beyond it. Creatively, also we are stuck. So how do we manage that? We seek inspirations. We face challenges. We listen to somebody's interview. Some photographer's story. How have they reached this stage wherever they are at? That will inspire us. That will inspire you. Seek that inspiration and continue to seek that, because you will face obstacles. Read books. There is enough material online. When you web search, you will find lot of online material. There is enough available. Lot of interviews are available. There are books. I am very fond of reading books. So buy them, read them, implement them, get inspired. Continue to seek inspiration, because that is the only thing that will keep you motivated, that will keep you on your toes, that will keep giving you new ideas. All right? Equip yourself appropriately. Now, this sentence could be misconstrued in many ways. No, I am not saying that go out and start buying equipment left, right and center. Do not do that. What do you mean by appropriately? Again, go stand in front of your mirror and ask yourself a question. What genre you want to follow? Why I am asking you to do this all over again? Because again, do not get inspired by somebody's success. Okay, so and so is a fashion photographer and is doing so well, I also want to be a fashion photographer. That's not the reason. So and so, Mr. So and so is a very successful wedding photographer and is making tons and tons of money, loads and loads of money. Let me also become a wedding photographer. Where is your reason? Where is your calling within photography? Whatever you want to become, understand the camera and lens which is appropriate for that genre and just buy that much. Add accessories as and when you require them. Do not overspend. Invest wisely. This is saying that if you buy randomly and unnecessarily, you will end up selling things that you really want. You will sell it now because you are under financial stress, and tomorrow suddenly you realize this was the lens that you wanted. So be judicious. This is very, very important. Let me repeat what I said in the first slide when I started. Camera is as intelligent as you are. So don't think that buying an expensive camera will make you a good photographer. It will not. It is you who will make yourself a good photographer, not the camera. It is just the tool. So invest wisely. There's a difference between spending and investing. When you buy randomly without applying thoughts, you are spending. When you buy equipment, when you need it, you are investing it. I hope you understand this fact. Build your character. I'm not saying you're doing things wrong. I'm not saying that. But I realized over a period of time, I was making a lot of mistakes. I was very impulsive. I would get angry on smallest of things. And I would abuse. If I get angry, I would abuse people. So I had to change that. If we hear this sentence that photographers are not respected community, people do not respect photographers, then it is not the people who are to blame, it is the photographers who are to blame. It is a photographer like me, a photographer like you, a photographer like somebody else who is to blame. Nobody has the right, I have not given the right to anybody to take my dignity or to disrespect me. And when do I give that right to somebody? When I misbehave as an individual. When I go to the meeting after smoking or taking a peg of alcohol. I give that right to somebody to disrespect me when I do not wear proper clothes. I do not present myself well. So, be likable. Ensure whatever you do, people like you. Because that is important. We have purchased very, very expensive gear and show it to the world that it is a hobby and profession only of the elite. Rest are fooling around. Give that impression. Create that impression. Be in company of right people. I can check your Instagram followers, not Instagram, your followers. I can check the people you follow on Instagram and tell you what kind of person you are. I'm not saying your friends are bad. I'm not saying all of a sudden you break all friendships. No, don't do that. But now create your new circle. Like-minded people who think alike, who act alike, who share the same passion. Then learn an additional language. If you know only English and you are in India, learn Hindi. If you are outside India, find out which is the second language which is spoken in your area. Learn that. If you already know that, congratulations, you are already on the right path. Why so? Because multilingual people, as a multilingual person, you will always have a better opportunity and a better chance of conversating with many different kind of people from diverse backgrounds or lingual backgrounds. You will always gain respect. All right, that's always an add-on. I'm not saying master the language, but learn, try and talk something. Start forming some sentences. Gradually, you will start enjoying it and you will learn more. Dress to inspire. Wear whatever. You want to wear 3-piece suit? Please go ahead. You want to wear a t-shirt and jeans? Please do wear it. But look presentable. Look like a person whom when people look at you will always say, wow, smart guy, smart girl, dresses well, is presentable, no stains here and there, no dirty collars, no wrinkled shirt, no low waist jeans which show more, which reveals more than it hides when I bend down. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Keep smiling because it increases your face value. Smile. What does it cost? Tell me. This costs a lot. always frowning face. Somebody said, what are today's headlights? And he says, this. See, read the headlights. No, smile. Smile randomly, smile at somebody. Always greet with smiling. We want to change. What is there in photography? How is it related to photography? It is all related to photography. You might become a skilled photographer. You might still master your creativity. But believe me, nobody is going to like you if you are not likable. And if people don't like you, you will also start losing interest in photography eventually. Then, work on personal hygiene. What is personal hygiene? I don't know who are you who's listening to this segment right now. You are from India, you are from outside, whosoever you are, work on your hygiene. If you have a beard, keep it clean, neat. Smell from your mouth, avoid it. You speak and saliva comes out of it from the corners of mouth, manage it. Body odor, manage it. Cigarette smokers, leave it. It will do you much better. Alcohol, never during work, never before you pick up the camera, or never while you hold the camera in your hand. Personal hygiene, it matters a lot. Good ethics. What are ethics? I'll give you a story. There was this king who one day thinks that he will ask there was a pond had dried up, and he thought that he will ask every villager or from his kingdom, every person to come and contribute with 1 glass of milk, which he should put in that pond, so that by the time night ends, early morning, the entire pond would have been filled by milk, and he can utilize that milk for other different good deeds. So he asked everybody that don't do anything except 1 glass of milk you should bring at night, go to the pond and pour that glass of milk in the pond. Now there were many people who thought that at the darkness of night, how is somebody going to see whether I am pouring a glass of milk or pouring a glass of water? How is it going to make a difference when thousands of people are pouring a glass of milk, and if I pour a glass of water, how is it going to make a difference? And when the king went in the morning to check the pond, it was full of water. There was no milk. And some of us probably were in that situation or are in that situation almost every day. We think, who will see? We jump a red light, who will watch? We cut corners, we pick up a deal, we pick up a photography project, and we do not do this, we do not do that, we do not do that. Who will find out? It's not for them to find out. It is for you to figure out. It is your work which is floating in the market. And it's a compromised work which people are seeing that Jassi is creating images which are compromised images. The quality will suffer. And who is going to suffer in the end? Whose business? Whose photography? Mine. Yours. Nobody else's. Stay ethical. You feel that you can't give a discount? Do not give a discount. Don't fall in somebody's feet to grab a deal, and now you start undercutting because your budgets don't match. No, never ever. There is no compromise on ethics. Be responsible. Now, this is very, very serious. And I always say this, challenge is not to become a skilled photographer, which you will eventually become. Even if you implement 50% of the topics that we have shared with you in last 7 modules, you will end up becoming at least somewhat skilled. So, challenge is not to become a skilled photographer, but to become a responsible photographer. A responsible photographer who is the captain of his ship, who is the pilot of his plane, who takes responsibility, owns up all the mistakes that he does or his team does. And when the team succeeds, becomes successful and is recognized for anything which is good, then the responsibility and the credit goes to the team, not to the leader. This is being responsible. Do you go out as a landscape photographer and wherever the barricaded areas are marked that you cannot go and stand there, you still disobey that because nobody else is watching? You are irresponsible then. Be a responsible photographer. There is no substitute. There is no option. These are the few things that will help you stand out from the crowd. Always stay 35. They say that 35 is an appropriate age when you are mature both emotionally and logically. Before this, your behavior is almost childlike, and after this, your behavior is eccentric. I don't know how far it is true. So, whatever the correct age, stay there. I've been at 35 from last 15-20 years. I will remain 35 for next 20-25 years. How about you? This will help. Stand out. To be recognized an outstanding photographer, you must stand out. How? Do not shoot cliches. If I am going to one particular spot or place to create images, what I will do first, I will go and web search images that have already been shot, not to seek inspiration, but to ensure that I do not end up creating copies of millions of other images which have already been shot. In that case, my image will always become a part of already created huge sized dump of mediocre images or cliched images. You might come back empty-handed, but that will inspire you and propel you to go further, go again to that place and find a unique frame. Stand out, because there is already lot of mediocrity around. There's already lot of cliche images around. Create your own signature style, but unique signature style. It will take lot of effort. Focus. Focus is one virtue that every individual must have, or every successful individual already has, is staying focused no matter what. I pick up camera, I go to shoot a particular thing, even for myself, no commercials involved, and I receive a call on my way. See, today one wonderful movie is released, can you come? I say, okay, I can always shoot that tomorrow, let me go. Focus gone. I am now more focused, and I receive a call from my girlfriend, let's go out on a date. Do I lose focus? Many distractions. How are you going to stay focused? World is full of distractions. It's blinders on. You don't see. You've seen the horse? Blinders on. Horse cannot see anywhere but in front. Be your harshest self-critique. First of all, learn how to take critique from others with a pinch of salt. Not by getting angry, not by getting abusive, not even in your mind. But being your self-critique will propel you forward. Pick up your image and be cruelest or harshest self-critique on that image. It is difficult. Why? Because when we put a lot of hard work in creating our images, we fall in love with that, no matter how mediocre that image is. Just because we have created it, just because we have put in hard work, we always fall in love with that. It's very difficult to detach yourself from your own work, from your own art, and look at it from a different perspective altogether. Believe me, that is the fastest thing that will help you grow. It's not easy, but if you can do it, please do. It's perfectly all right to make mistakes. Let me give you another insight. No matter how big a photographer somebody is, no matter how experienced a photographer somebody is, he or she still commits mistakes, still shoots bad images. But they never come out. They get buried deep within his courtyard. They never come out. And we end up throwing our bad images everywhere. Nothing is wrong initially, but as soon as we curb that, we'll be better off. So, it's perfectly all right to be wrong. It's perfectly all right to be making mistakes. You should be more bothered when you're not doing anything wrong from last few years. Everything that you is perfect. There's something seriously wrong. Revisit what you're doing. And then probably you will realize that you're surrounded by a coterie of bootlicking friends who don't know how to call spade a spade. I'm not saying everybody does that. I'm not saying this is the situation everywhere, but just try and understand. And learn how to fail forward. When you fail, you learn and move on. When you suffer a setback, learn, move on, fail forward. Handle adversity maturely. We all face adversities. Life is not bed of roses. Nobody is born with a silver spoon in his mouth. Nobody. Nobody is born in this world with the blessing from the Almighty that from now on till you die, you will have a life full of bed of roses. Whenever you walk outside the house, the entire traffic is going to vanish and you will be driving on a empty, red carpeted road. It's not going to happen. The challenge is, how do we handle those adversities? How do we handle those situations? Do we work harder or do we take a step back? There's nothing wrong in taking a step back as far as I'm taking that step back to re-evaluate. But if I'm taking that step back to retreat myself, I'm sorry. You lied to yourself on your day one that you are passionate about photography. Stay hungry. Hungry for knowledge, hungry for creativity, hungry for another unique image. You know, I always say this to whosoever attends my workshops and comes from my photo tours and all. There's one common thing which I always say. How do you end your day as a photographer? So I am going on a shoot or travel or whatever, I have my camera, I am shooting for the day. For how long? Till what time will I continue to shoot? And the answer always is till you get the best shot. Do you agree? If the answer is yes, let me tell you, the actual answer is no. Then what do? First, understand there is nothing called best. There is always a possibility to create better than the best. So when do I put down the camera? When do I stop shooting? When there is no enough light available or opportunity available on that particular day to continue shooting. Only then I pack up my camera. Otherwise, no. Because you always try to create another image which is better than what you consider to be best just a moment ago. So always stay hungry. The day you feel I am done enough, let me go back home, your creativity is going to start walking in the reverse direction. Believe me. What others think? This is one mistake. This is one reason most photographers are unable to become better photographers. Most photographers do not reach those heights. What others will think? What others will think when I pick up the camera in public place? What others will think when they come and see me not meeting my ends because I have taken up photography as a profession after leaving my job? I should be more bothered about what I think about myself, because what those people think, those people are not going to come and feed my family. Those people are not going to feed to my creativity. Those people are not going to feed to my inspiration. So they are not important. Get rid of that baggage. What others will think. Always stay a student. Ready to learn? Remove the baggage, extra baggage that you are carrying. That old sentence or saying still holds good. It's always better to stay half empty than a glass full. Because a glass full, whatever knowledge you are getting, that will spill over. And half empty. So it is important to unlearn to be able to learn. There is nothing called right moment. Most people say, yes, I am thinking of starting doing photography from last many years, and their body language is, yes, I am doing it, yes, I will do it, no, I will do it tomorrow. Huh? What are you waiting for? Oh, I went to that guy and he said that this is not the right time. There are lot many photographers and probably 1 year down the line you will have a better opportunity when that manufacturer is going to release another 50 megapixel camera. Then is the right time for you. It is now. Right now. Go out. Make it happen. There's nothing that should stop you from picking up the camera right now and going out to create your images. I hope I have made some sense here. You might have some questions. Please do ask. Because in the end, it is you who will be the creator or destroyer of your passion, which is called photography. Let me leave you here with one story. There was this very known sage in some mountains. He was doing a lot of meditation, and the word was that his predictions never go wrong. Whatever he said always came true. And there were these two naughty guys, naughty boys, who were mischievous boys, who decide to prove that sage that he is wrong. And they wanted to tell this to the whole world that the sage is wrong, is not always to the point or not always truthful. So they go and they somehow catch hold of one small bird, very small bird, live, and they keep there in their hand. And they think that they'll ask the sage, what is there in our hand? And the sage says that it is a bird. Then we are going to ask, is it alive or dead? If he says alive, we will strangle the bird and we'll say, see, it is dead. And if he says it is dead, we will say it is alive. So we would have proved him wrong. And they go to the sage and they ask, what is there in our hands? The sage says, it's a bird. And they say, is it alive or dead? He says, its life or death is in your hands. It is you who will decide whether the bird is alive or dead. You know what this bird is? This is your passion about photography. So what you do with it is in your hands. Until next time, see you guys. Thank you so much for being with me.